Welcome to the Healthy Kitchen here at Hilton Head Health. I am Chef Thomas, and I'm delighted to be here on a beautiful October day here on the island, one of my favorite times of the year on the island. And today I'm going to share some exciting news. If you haven't heard it already, Hilton Head Health has partnered with Blue Zones, and we now offer the Blue Zones retreat here at H3. It's a wonderful experience. I encourage you to look at our website, the Blue Zones website, and you can also check out their Netflix documentary on Blue Zones to learn more and consider coming and joining us for this outstanding experience. Today we're going to talk a little bit about it before we dive into our recipe. And if you're not familiar with Blue Zones at all, they've located 5 areas where people live longer, better lives. They're healthier. There's a lot less chronic disease, less dementia. And they studied those different areas around the globe and found 9 things that they have in common. And they've called them the Power 9 Principles, and we get into them in detail here at the Blue Zones experience at Hilton Head Health, so you should come and learn all about that. And one of the Power 9 Principles is called Plant Slant, and that refers to the way that the people eat in these different areas of the world. And the one thing they have in common is they consume very little meat. And today we're going to cook a recipe that's plant-based, very healthy, very delicious, very easy, and it's very fall. So my farmers right now are bursting at the seams with great winter squashes. We've got these beautiful acorn squash that just came in the other day. And on our menu we offer this beautiful stuffed acorn squash, which we're going to make for you today. So we're going to start by cutting this in half. And we're going to clean these seeds out. You can save these seeds and roast them, clean them up and roast them, just like a pumpkin seed. But we're just going to clean this out. All you need is a spoon. Our squashes are nice and cleaned out. We're just going to take a sheet pan, put a little bit of olive oil spray on here, and put these face side down on our baking sheet. We're going to pop these in the oven at 375 degrees for about 20-25 minutes. And I'll check them with a knife. I want to pierce them with a knife with very little resistance, and I'll know they're ready to go. So we're going to wait about 15-20. While we're doing that, we're going to prepare the filling for our acorn squash. So our filling is some really good vegetables. It's actually the mirepoix. So we've got onions, carrots, celery, the very traditional French mirepoix, but we're going to add a lot of different flavor to it. So we're going to start with our onion, and we're going to cut this root end off. I like to get rid of that first. And we're going to cut it in half right through this stem. And we're going to peel away this dry outer layer. And we want to get a nice shiny layer of onion, which we've got here. So we'll proceed with that. And I'm going to cut it in half again. We want to get 1/4 of the onion. So I'm going to cut it in half right through the stem again. And I want to keep this stem intact. I don't want to cut through the back of this onion. So I'm just going to go straight down. You see my knife's not going all the way to the back. That's going to hold us together. And I cut it into quarters so I would have 2 flat edges. So now I can flip it like this and repeat that process. You can see the onion really wants to fall apart, but not cutting through the back holds it together. And now we'll just cut it in the 3rd direction. I'm keeping my fingertips under my knuckles. Keeps them attached to my fingers. And we got beautiful diced onion. So we had a 1/2 cup of diced onion. That's perfect for our recipe. Now we'll do a 1/2 cup of diced celery. And I'm going to cut the bottom ends and the top ends off our celery. And I keep all my vegetable scraps. And I do make vegetable broth with some of them. And if in our kitchen we do everything from scratch. So we have a lot of produce scraps that we have. And instead of throwing them in the garbage, we segregate our waste stream. And when our farmers bring meat to us from our local farms, they take away our produce scraps and feed it to the pigs and the chickens. So I'm going to cut this celery into thinner sticks. And we'll dice these up. And you don't want these dice to be too large because they're going to go into the stuffing for the squash. So we want a half a cup, about the same size pile as our onions, and we've got that there, so we're good to go. Now we're going to do a quarter cup of our carrot. So I don't like to peel fruits and vegetables very often, but I do with carrots. There's really no nutrition on the outside of this carrot that's not on the inside, so it is quite dirty. You could give it a good scrub if you want, but I'd like to just peel this outer layer away. And we don't need much of the carrot, so we'll just peel that part of it. So just a quarter cup. So I'm going to cut off, carrots are round and they're hard. And when you got a sharp knife in your hand, that can be a little daunting. So I like to cut these into smaller pieces and stand them on that edge and just take a little nick off the side, like so. And I've got a flat edge, so it's not going to roll on me. We'll cut straight down into these nice little planks. And I'll cut these into sticks. And then we'll cut those sticks into dice. So we got onions, carrots, celery. That's what we call our mirepoix. So many dishes start with this combination of vegetables. So we're going to expand on that a little bit. And we're going to add some Granny Smith apple. Granny Smiths are great to cook with their tart, so they don't add too much sweetness to our recipe, but they do add a lot of that great apple flavor. So I'm just going to slice off until I get to the core. How much apple do I need? A cup. So I've got my slices of apple. We're going to do just like we've done with our prior vegetables. We're going to cut these into sticks and then dice. And I'm not peeling the apple. I did give it a good wash because there is nutrition in that apple peel that is not in the apple flesh. And we're looking for a cup of apple. And finally, and there we go. So that's our veggie prep. I'm going to keep these little separate. They're going to cook a little bit later than the rest of the vegetables. We got one more item to prep. We got to do our zucchini. So this is also going to add a lot of flavor to our dish. This has got tons of natural sweetness to it. So I'm going to cut this similar to what I did with the carrot. It's not as round and as hard, so it's a little bit easier to manage. So I'm just going to lay it down and take that slice off. And once again, we're cutting into sticks and then dice. And while I finish cutting my zucchini, I'm going to get my pan started. We'll get some heat going on here. I'll leave that on medium till we're ready to cook, but when I'm done with this zucchini, we'll be ready to roll right into cooking. I like to make sure everything's prepped before I start cooking. That's called mise en place. And a little more zucchini. Apples, like our acorn squash, are very big in the fall. They're really rolling into season right now. And our apples are coming from the mountains of North Carolina. All right, that's a good amount of zucchini for us. So I've got my veggies, my apple all prepped. We're ready to roll. And my pan will get nice and hot. I like to test it with a drop of water, make sure it sizzles before I add my olive oil. I always add olive oil to my pan after it's hot. It's going to minimize the chance that my oil is going to smoke and break down on me. Also allows me to use less oil because I put a little bit of oil in a cold pan. It just sits in the middle, but in a hot pan, a little bit of oil will coat the entire pan for us. So a little water. Oh, it sizzles nicely. We're ready to go. So a little bit of oil. We'll swirl this around, coat that entire pan. And in goes our mirepoix and zucchini. So we'll start with our vegetables. When they start to soften, we'll add our apple. Apples cook a little faster. They don't require as much cooking as the rest of these vegetables. Gotta love that sizzle. We'll shake these around. Give them a little coat of oil. So once these get softened, we'll add our apples and a few other ingredients. And we'll be ready to stuff our acorn squash. Okay, it looks like our vegetables are coming along nicely, so let's add our apple. And we'll soften these up a little bit. Then we'll finish this off. This is really a simple dish to prepare. None of these ingredients are rare or hard to find. A lot of them you probably have around in your refrigerator right now. So we've got a lot of wonderful flavor in this pan right now, and I'm going to turn off the heat. Everything's nice and soft. We're going to cook this a little bit more. So I'm going to turn this off, and now we're going to take some really good flavor and we're going to make it awesome flavor. And we're also going to add some beans. These are cannellini beans. You can use Great Northern beans. You can use garbanzo beans. But one of the common things they found in the blue zones is that they do consume quite a bit of beans. And adding beans to your diet on a daily basis can really add some longevity to your life in a healthier way. So we're going to stir in our beans. That's going to be our main protein source. We've got some dried cranberries. And we've got some walnuts. And these really punch up the flavor. So let's get this all mixed nice and evenly. We'll test our acorn squash. Yeah, we got some nice caramelization on the face. Oh, these are beautiful. So let's put this away. And finishing this up is pretty simple. So we're going to take the squash and our filling. And scoop these right in. And a nice heaping over the top filling. Yeah, you could spill some and make a little mess. That's okay. Just pile them right back in there. That's all. And lastly, and this is optional. This right now is a totally vegan dish, but we're going to add a little cheese to it. Gives it a little bit more flavor. This is Parmigiano Reggiano, which is a tremendous cheese, so you can use a little bit of it and you get a lot of flavor out of just a little bit. So we're going to pop this back in the oven. And it'll be 2 minutes. We'll have some beautiful brownness. Not quite brown, but we'll let it go another minute or two. Gonna get. So our squashes are cooked through. Our filling's nice and hot, and now we've got some melted Parmigiano Reggiano cheese on top. And what a meal! It's about 300 calories. Let me double check that. Our squash is cooked through, our filling's nice and hot. We're topped with some melted Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. This makes a great meal. Comes in at about 300 to 330 calories, depends if you use the cheese or not. So let's plate this up and have some lunch. I like to put this on a bed of arugula, give a little color on our plate. And it's always good to eat our leafy greens. Arugula is another item that is very much in season here in South Carolina right now, and it's delicious and peppery. So we'll take our squash, and voila. And I like to do one more little thing to punch this up even a little bit more. I know it's probably not something you're going to do at home, but you really should. I like to do these little pickled vegetables and put them on the plate. They look really cool. They also add a really nice flavor pop. They got that good acidity to them. And they're just fun. So that's nice and pretty. We got a lot of color contrast. We got some great temperature contrast. We got the cold arugula, our hot squash, and dig in and have lunch. This is absolutely delicious. I hope you make this at home. Like I say, this is simple, easy ingredients to find and put together. Doesn't take very long, and it is really good. You'll impress your friends and your family and make your belly happy. So this is Chef Thomas from the Healthy Kitchen at Hilton Head Health. And do consider us joining us for Blue Zone's retreat and cook some good food, eat more plants, less meat, and you'll be happier for it. Have a great day. Thank you.